Thanks for staying with us. Following some of the violent scenes in the Western Cape during what has been termed the Taxi Shutdown, the Congress of South African Trade Unions says there is a need for a national dialogue on formalizing the taxi industry. There are calls that the industry should enjoy the same support as other industries in the transport sector, while at the same time there are some issues that are also burning, like, for example, the impounding of the vehicles, and there was also, of course, the issue of the Taxi Recapitalisation Programme, which was seen as, by some as a move to formalize the sector. But how has it fared? Let's now speak to Dr. Siyabulela Fobosi, who is the University of Fort Hare's UNESCO Oliver Tambo Chair of Human Rights. Thank you so much for your time. And you've done some extensive research in this particular regard, and there have been various approaches over the years to address some of the challenges in the industry. In some of the instances, for example, this was viewed to integrate it into the country's public transport plans in full. In your view, have these approaches worked?
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers. Right, the formalization process started in the early 90s, right, around 1994. So with the introduction of the Taxi Recapitalisation
Dr. Fobosi, please pardon me. I'm going to pause you there just for a second. We can hear you, but your audio is not that clear. So let's take a short break, and then we'll try to work on that particular audio and pick up our discussion after this. All right, let's pick up our conversation now with Dr. Siyabulela Fobosi, University of Fort Hare, UNESCO Oliver Tambo Chair of Human Rights, as we look at the issues around the formalizing the taxi industry. And Dr. Fobosi, we're still talking about, the various approaches over the years to address some of the challenges in this industry, for example, to try and integrate it into the country's public transport plans in full. And you were still sharing with us whether or not these worked?
Right, thank you once again. As I was saying, the formalization process started in the early 90s, so in 1994 to be specific. And it started with the Taxi Recapitalisation Programme. And that was founded as a result of the recommendation of the National Taxi Task Team. So the then team, which was established to look at the problems in the industry. But even though the recommendations were made, so there's not much has been done to kind of formalize the industry, to bring it to the same level as the kind of formalized buses or trains. Even the Taxi Recapitalisation Programme itself has not succeeded. It has had challenges. I've looked at some of the challenges that it has had, which include, among others, the fact that most taxi operators mentioned that they did not benefit. They have not benefited rather from getting their old taxis scrapped. Which is because some of them don't have permits, or they don't have the operating licenses, which is one of the requirements in order to have the taxis scrapped. So the formalization process has really faced challenges. There's still a long way to go, but working together, I think, with the government and also the industry showing willingness, much can be done. So because that process at this stage is still facing challenges.
And in your view, in the work that you've done, I wonder what has been the impact then of the snail space here, because you think about the National Taxi Task Team, for example. It was in 1995, it was a long time ago, and the RECAP program is one that was even over the course of time revised in order to try and get more of the taxi owners to surrender their taxis. There was a scrapping fee involved and all of that, but it doesn't look like it yielded the desired result, as I'm listening to you as well. So what then becomes the impact of this on the actual industry itself?
Well, thank you. There is a negative impact, especially in terms of being able to provide an effective or efficient service to the commuters. Because you'll remember that scrapping involves taxes that are owed that needs to be renewed for the benefit of the commuters. So if then such passengers, such operators are not benefiting from the scrapping process, it means that then the commuters will travel with old taxis. It also means that the drivers will drive taxis that are not in good condition. And then it also means that such taxis face a situation where they will be impounded. As per sections 87 of the National National Land Transport Act.
And you think about the issue of impounding, for example, and how even the industry is calling out to say that let us also try to have a system that is able to get an owner to be able to negotiate, because it is a driver who then, would be seeing the taxi being impounded, and the owner then has to come and negotiate at a later stage. But there are also some of the issues in that regard. But I wonder then, if all of these things that have been, attempted to be implemented, and we still see violence in this particular sector as well, we still see quite a lot of issues, safety concerns, as we've cited, when it comes to the state of some of the taxis that are carrying passengers on a day-to-day basis. What becomes then some of the stumbling blocks in order to ensure that these problems are dealt with once and for all, and to make this particular industry one that is feasible and working properly for the people of South Africa, because we know majority of them are black?
Right, thank you. You see, the biggest problem for me, the main problem for me really, is unwillingness. Is unwillingness from on the side of the industry, especially when it comes to the form in which the formalization process is coming. So as I'm saying that it's not only the government's fault per se, but it's also the industry. So that's to some extent showing willingness to say, look, we don't want the government to take our business away from us. I remember that I had a chat with someone during my study who said, look, the formalization process must not be top down. It must be, a bottom up. So there's a feeling that the formalization process is top down, that there's no engagement with the industry. So they feel that government is on the way to take their business away from them. Which is one of the challenges that they are facing. So in about, I'm saying that. Sorry.
Pardon me. In about 20 seconds, then, how do they begin to resolve that deadlock? Because it's one that's been going on for a long time.
Yes. It's a problem. So. And once I'm recommending to the industry itself that, look, it needs to sit down itself, investigate, because investigate some of the issues that they are facing, and how to then move around to address the problems. Because one of the things that they have explained over the years is the fact that of not benefiting from the subsidies, and forgetting that in order to benefit from such subsidies, the industry would need to be formalized. And the formalization process, includes, having the industry registered, the cooperatives, for example, which I've explained over the years, that there needs to be some sort of cooperatives, something that will be then recognized by government to say, this is what we are working with, this is what we are working with, this is what we are subsidizing. Because at the moment, you have a number of different operators with different interests. So it's difficult for the government to work to provide subsidies to such different to operators.
Especially because there's different associations that are also coming with different requirements and different things. So it's still a long way to go. And as you say, it's time for them to also sit and talk about this. But let me thank you for your time. And, this is one discussion that we'll have during the course of time, because it's yet again an important one brought into the spotlight. That's Dr. Siyabulela Fobosi, University of Fort Hare, UNESCO, Oliver Tambo Chair of Human Rights. And he did his PhD on the taxi industry. Certainly someone who's been watching developments in this industry very closely. Let's remind you of our question tonight.
Should the taxi industry be formalized? And we asked for your thoughts, so let's share them with the nation.
Andrew, yes, the taxi industry should be formalized, including the likes of Uber and etc. The violence and the assassination of one another will stop. The rule of law will be respected.
Kagiso, I think it should be formalized due to the violence that happens in the taxi industry. Formalizing will help maintain order and ensure the safety of passengers and road users.
Mzugulu saying, where does the taxi industry see its future? For mayors and city managers, what kind of relationship with the taxi operators would be advantageous to all and conducive to the environment, such as mayors, city managers intend to create and maintain?
Sidwell says, without a doubt, and taxi drivers trained in customer service, and obviously government will have to subsidize them like buses.
Legasa lochane batubeke to locha legasa. Let it be formalized if it's going to benefit the taxi industry. But the ruling party is detrimental.